Hello everybody, welcome to episode 14, which, let's see how this episode goes or not currently for the Tamagotchi bunch. So, nothing's changed. As you know, we've kind of had to do an episode earlier today. That's mostly my fault on that, but it's okay. But let's see if we can do a single thing. Sadly, not yet. So you want another one of these episodes where it's like, I don't have much to talk about on either one of these devices. I know, Annabelle, I know. Don't know if anyone can hear that on camera. My dog did a whining noise type thing. But jeez. Nope. Dang. I have one more episode to make. Okay. It's like one of the weird moments where it's like, come on. Like, I'm at this weird stage where it's like, I want to move on to, like, the next progress step, and now I'm just sitting here with, like, these two, and I'm just like, what to talk about, because next episode will be the end. I was hoping this one would be the end, because I just don't have anything to blab onto about, but now I'm at this point where it's like, what shall I do? I could sit down and play minigames with them, which is probably what this episode is going to be today, because we really don't have much to talk about. So I guess let's get into the minigames. Or I guess I could do a sort of review of this device in this episode. You're very vocal today, Annabelle. Sorry, my dog's being overly vocal. Don't know how much she's going to keep up with her vocal personality today. But let's give him food, because I forgot to do that. Okay. Give food to that one at least, and then on this one, we'll give food here. And then we'll talk about the Tamagotchi experience. Give them 2 snacks on each one. So I figured this would be a pretty interesting point to this device. I know I haven't discovered everything so far, but overall I'd really recommend. I feel like if you could get a good price on these devices, then I recommend getting them. The only negative to the 5s, actually all of them to be honest, even the Japanese version over here, is all 3 of these are kind of usually rarer devices and kind of expensive a lot of times. I got lucky with these 3 because they just were cheaper than the average cost, so I got lucky with each of these because most of the time I've seen these go, it's like, a lot of time I've seen them go past like $150 and stuff like that. I'm like, no, that's expensive. I've also seen these like go to like crazy amounts for like 200s and 300s for like sealed ones. It's like, that's crazy. I haven't gotten into the Japanese one yet, though, but I'm just saying, because there's still a lot of similarities with this device and these ones. But overall, and like the experience I've had so far with these devices, they've been pretty good. I don't think they reached the same levels as the last 2 or the previous version, the N-Tama. I've not played with the Ur-Tama yet, but I can at least say to like compare to the Ekai and Katai V3 and like N-Tama and stuff like that. I think those are still better devices overall. Mostly because a lot of their features are much more pronounced, and there's not like such steep difficulty curve. So, because like what is it? You could get inside to like the Katai, for example, or even the V1 and V2. As you see with those devices, it's very easy to go through all the stuff, and you can have a very enjoyable time with everything. With these ones, your first run spent kind of grinding out everything, which it doesn't even do you well, especially if you have a original one right here, because your payment on this is super low, and almost every item on this device cost like way too much. Like, it does not matter what you do, you're gonna be poor as all heck. And like, when these originally came out, a lot of the versions with it came with DVDs, to try mitigating that by giving you cheat codes. That is not a great way of getting around something, because that just means it's just their difficulty curve was just a bit too steep to where you couldn't do much. That whole first generation run is probably like one of the worst, because you don't have access to all the mini games, and your bonding will always be stuck to this like weird low level, because your best bet of bonds at that point is either connections because those little mini-game events don't happen often. Especially on this original one, where you pretty much your best bet is, like on the original one, is getting a low bonding character. Meanwhile, on this one, you had a bit of a better chance at least getting mid-bonding with the basic event stuff, which we did see that. We got a mid-bond character, and even on this run, we also got another mid-bond, because I was still trying to learn the efforts of the whole bonding thing. I think bonding is probably horribly designed. I don't think they sat down and balanced it out well enough. There's just too many issues with how each of the characters work and progress through it. Like, was it the best way of bonding on these devices, and the best way to do it quickly, is not through playing with them or sitting around with them doing the little events or whatever. The best way to bond on this device was using a little DVD accessory that I had to cheat in here to at least get some progress out of it. Like, I kind of sat around with them, and I was trying to figure out whatever ways, and because playing with them, you have to do it for a really long time. You also have to get really good at the game for it to actually give you, like, maximum points. And then that doesn't really work out well, because then you don't even get those games till, like, the second generation. And even by the second generation, you're still kind of struggling with everything. The V5 fixed this by, one, offering more money. You do get more bonding events, so that means by the end of, like, the middle stages, you're at least closer to mid-tier than, you can still get low-tier pretty easily if you skip some of the events, but, like, you're very much closer to mid-tier instead of being, like, in the original where you're close to more of a lower tier. The extra animations in this were pretty cool, and I do love all the references to celebrity culture. I just think, overall, this wasn't much of an improvement over the original. Both of them kind of sit in a different, nice, like, mid-ground of okay experiences. Just because they're difficulty curve, I kind of just don't want to really recommend them too much. Like, they're very interesting devices. I love the whole multiple Tamagotchi concept, but living in a world where I've seen it kind of done better now, like, I get this is like a first for its time and stuff like that, but nowadays when we live with something like the, do I have one near me? No, I don't. The, like, 20th anniversary Digimon devices where you get 2 V-Pets on a device, it actually feels like you're raising 2 creatures instead of this weird group here, because as see, it doesn't matter what you do, they're both kind of, they both feed off their own same thing. In the 20th Digimon devices, they kind of did this by, like, you could sit there and easily focus your attention on the different characters so that you could, let's say if you wanted one bad character and one good character, you could do that. You can't do this on these devices. You're kind of stuck with your weird 2 characters and whatever they become in a way. So, I feel like there's too many limitations overall with these devices. Like, overall, they're interesting, but I feel like as a overall appeal thing, these are probably my more lower rated of the Connection family. I just don't think they offer a lot on the table for it to be as interesting. I rate it higher than the original V1 because it still has some interesting aspects, and the idea of having a shop menu does make it at least better than the original V1, but you still don't have much past that, really. You're kind of just in this weird little glob of things. So, overall, I'd probably rate this, like, second to last of what I've currently played with a bunch of these Connection-type devices. It's interesting, but I think there needs to be a lot more improvements to the whole functionality. And I'm hoping if Bandai ever does come down and revisit these concepts, I'm hoping they actually probably sit down and adjust the bonding concept a bit more, and adjust the whole money concept as well. We saw how they did little adjustments to the V3 re-release by combining it with the Japanese side and American side, and then also doing little adjustments to mini-games and stuff like that, where you saw in the mini-games, they sped up things, they made it have more of an animation frame rate and stuff like that, to where now you could actually sit there and enjoy certain games. Like, if you remember, heading in the original device was super laggy and slow, but meanwhile in the the redoing of it, it was very much more interesting, and you could sit down and actually play it very confidently. I'm hoping at some point it does happen with these devices, But overall, I think this is probably the lowest rated of the Tamagotchi line for me. Or at least one of the lowest rated. Because even the V1 has some better aspects to it, like discipline and stuff like that, so... Sorry, Tamagotchi fans, but in my personal opinion, these are not the greatest of devices. And then if you're sitting around looking for Tamagotchi devices to run and you're looking for a recommendation for a connection to get into, I recommend a V1, V2, or V3 way more. Or if you're looking at the Japanese side of things, I would recommend an Intama, because those are really cool. I'd also recommend the Japanese version of the V3, the Katai and Akai, and even the original Japanese version of the V1, which is very close to the American version. So overall, I just don't think these devices are very much worth it in a way. So, because of their cost and just because of how they are in general, I just don't think these would rate high enough for me. But that's pretty much it for this episode. The next episode is going to be the marriage stage, and we'll marry them off, and probably end the series there. Because now we're going to have to get into the Halloween season with the Tamagotchi. So, at one point we'll get to see the Tamagotchi pretty soon, so I'm excited for that. We will revisit the V5 concept at some point, because like most of these Tamagotchis, why not? I feel like they have so much to offer still. And I never got into certain aspects of these devices, like the pet function and peer families. Still wouldn't add much to the devices, but it's still pretty cool in general as a concept, so. It also gets into like evolution with items and stuff like that, so. There's things I still missed out on these devices, but as I currently sit here and play them, I'm going to say they're much more lower rated, in my opinion. So, sorry about that, y'all, but thank y'all for watching, and I will do a connection tier list at some point, by the way. I'm just waiting to at least complete all the collections, at least play each version at some point, and that's where I'm kind of getting along with it. I'd love to run a whole line of devices, and then at some point just rate all the devices. Like, I feel like that'd be a cool concept thing to do. I'd probably do that with Digimon with bricks, but can't do it with Tamagotchis yet. I'm still missing some of the connections. But for right now, that's it. We'll see you in the next episode, which should be the last one, because we'll be doing the whole marriage step. And then we'll be moving on to the next series. So, thank y'all for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye-bye.